Morning. I think we're live, and happy Halloween to everybody. I hope you're all planning your trick or treating tonight. If you have kids, well, it's not much of an option for me. So once you have kids, you have to do trick and treating, and I think I've got myself a new pumpkin mask, pumpkin skeleton, that creature thing. So today we will continue our painting. So as you can see yesterday, I've gone ahead and did a little bit more in the evening, and this is what I have currently at Mari in Mari. So a bit of nose, and I talked about me not liking the displacement, so I've got to paint up that bit. Did a little bit of the eyes and the wound, but there'll be more of that done tonight. Um, Also, the issue that I was having yesterday was to do with the masks. So I used a selection mask. For some reason, it's not a good idea to use it. So discard everything I told you yesterday. It being cool. It seemed to be working at the time, but you can't bake it or export it. And I think there's another step following that, which I'm not aware of. So instead, I used a UDEMY mask. Because these eyeballs are in separate UDIMs, I could just select the UDIM mask and pick the UDIM, and because it takes only single value, I had to use two separate UDIM masks, combine those, and then pass it into this merge, and that seemed to have fixed it. So if I bake this now, there shouldn't be any issues. It'll just bake, and if I view this, it will be exactly the same output as I was viewing before. um, did we switch? Maybe we did, I don't know. Anyway, so I'm going to look at this node, as we'll still be painting and we want live feedback. So when we view the bake point, you don't get live feedback. It's only the previously baked point that we get to see. And it's a really good practice to have a bake point before we export or move on to other textures. So once I'm done with the colors, I bake it and I view the baked version, so Mari doesn't have to like calculate all of these nodes previously every time we move the model around. So that's the purpose of it. So right now I'm in this paint node. So if I show you what I've got so far on here, this is just the good old just a transparent background, and I'm just painting all of these details. So this is how far I got, and now in this session I'll try and paint the rest of the body, and then we'll start doing the mouth insides as well. So going back to this, let's grab a brush, and this is the fun part because you get to choose a lot of brushes and masks, which is the power of Mari really. So I think have the storm cloud, but what I'm gonna do, I'll change that to super soft, super soft, this one, and I'll make sure that where's the painting, my fractal noise is turned on. Yeah, it is enabled, so I haven't disabled it. So, and with a darker skin tone, I'll just grab some of these areas, like the areas which are ambient occluded. And also here I've got pretty dark chin. That's again judging by some of the references. So under all the white fur that you see in the chin is pretty dark, the actual skin itself. So we'll move around. Also, you can see I did get a little bit of red in the ears, not too much. So we found this yellow stuff. We don't want any of that. It's super soft. It really helps like blend with the colors underneath. So if you don't want it to be a harsh black or harsh any color, it's just better to use this brush and keep going over and over a few times until you get the intensity that you want. Like for instance here, I definitely want it to be quite dark. Also, for this part of the painting, it might be worth turning on symmetry because a lot of this stuff is very generic. So if I don't do that, so you'll see that there's a line in the middle, and now I can just paint over some of these areas, just getting rid of the seams. Yeah, I've just got a little bit of time this morning before the Halloween festivities begin in the afternoon, so I thought I'd do a quick stream because I really want to progress this to a point where we can see the lion pretty much without the fur, because a lot of this texturing stuff I tend to come back to after say the look dev, because I'm pretty sure much of this I won't like in the first instance, but just getting a base, will do for now. And it's so much fun doing this way because you're not caught up in the details, and you're just going with the flow and understand the reference, study it a bit, but also think of it like an artistic project. But once the look dev phase starts, you really focus on the realism and any little blemish here and there that is out of place. You want to come back and fix them. So let me go even darker here. And the specularity around the wound, etc., they have to also change. So we will custom hand paint areas for the specular map as well. I don't know where I got that from. That must be a mistake. Let's blend it. So just sort of color bouncing, at the moment, and so get this really nice blend of colors. Oh, it looks like I didn't get the right mirror. Am I mirror projecting on the X? Mirror projection X. Yeah, okay. I just want to be blending because it's so dark in the mouth area. I don't want it to be a harsh shift between colors. So if I just get a little bit more patchy stuff going on, it will look a little bit more natural. Interesting shape around there. Okay, so I'll just take a larger brush size just under the neck, so the fractal noise, is a little bit large. Let me turn off this environment, it's a bit distracting. That's better. And also I'm going to change the brush for this thing. Maybe dino skin is a really good one, and I can disable the mask because it is quite you know, random. The brush itself is quite texture filled. So if I just do that, you see it gives that really spray kind of effect, spray paint. Yeah, easily one of my favorite paint brushes for creatures. Yeah, so I want to be really dark under the neck. So where there are slight gaps between the fur, you know, you're looking at a fairly dark skin underneath. And around the seams especially, you want to blend it so the seams disappear, becomes more tileable. How about also taking the smaller brush side and go under the cheekbone. Also yesterday I didn't have Aces set up in Blender, so I went ahead and downloaded the OCIO configs for that. So today we will see some color accuracy when we render this in Blender. So we should be doing that. So yeah, it's quite a dark like skin. If you want to know where I got this from, you may Google or search on YouTube what NPC have done for the Lion King. So they did a presentation of their Taka breakdown from Mufasa, and in there you can see a shot where they show the lion without the fur, and that's kind of where I'm getting this from, because there are no references that I could find when I try see lion without fur. There are a few where you could see some lions in the wild without much fur on the nose, and you can tell that it is quite dark under there. So just going to try and get this like natural painting method, fairly large size and varying the size as well, because that changes the texture. So I'm just following the anatomy sometimes, like if I see that there's a transition, any crevices, kind of like painting my own cavity map, although I have one I could use, which I may uh, again multiply on top of all of this. So this is going to be very ambient occluded area. So yeah, really nice brush this one, Dino skin. And if you go a little lighter, if I just zoom in here, if you just like in the first instance, it gives that little spotty sort of texture, and then I'm going really lightly. And if you go over a few times, obviously it blends it all together, like in this area where it's really dark. Remember, the color of the line that we actually see is the color of the fur, not the skin. And here we're painting the skin, not the fur. Hence, don't want to get too much lighter and yellow colors just yet. That is something we'll do on a different set of UVs. obviously another place to go really dark would be in between. In fact, I might just get this stuff from the ambient occlusion map that I've got, but I'll just go and color the pads or just under the feet. And I could isolate just the patches or faces from the UV set here for just these, but the point is I think all of this is dark anyway, not just the pads. So I'm just going all over, but a little bit darker on the pads themselves. And this side there's a bit of leak, so just gonna blend that, make it softer. Okay, like that. So Mari just projects from view, so you will always see these stretchy kind of marks, which may or may not be desirable for you. So you have to really turn your camera around. I wish I could turn the grid off. There's a way to turn the grid off. Where is it? Is it this? Oh, project. There's a toggle for that somewhere. Oh, I can't even remember. I haven't used Mari in a while, if I'm honest. It's been over a year since I logged into Mari, and the latest version. There's a few changes, not many. I was able to get started without too much trouble, but there are some of the UI elements that I just simply don't remember. But yeah, I will find where the grid is and I'll turn it off. Could be under view. Display, save layout, take screenshot, toggle palette, full screen, palettes. Come on. It's got to be so obvious. It'll be usually for any software is somewhere up here. So, or it could be down here. Anyway, when I find it, I will turn it off. Because it can be distracting. So yeah, I just don't want it to be like too harsh, like those stretch marks. So I'm just gonna blend them wherever I find them, like this side, and this side, this side. Another thing to say is my monitor is not really, it's an old one and it's not really color calibrated, so what I'm seeing on my screen would be a bit more washed out than what you might see. So if you have a more color accurate monitor, this might actually look a lot darker than darker but more nicer on a modern monitor. That's another thing to remember when texture painting. If you don't have a color calibrated monitor, you're kind of guessing your colors. But one way I know that they'll be okay is comparing with the reference, because even my references would be slightly different to what you see on your monitor. So as long as I'm abiding by what I see on my monitor and then painting it accordingly, whatever it's going to look like to you is still look right in relation to the reference that I'm doing. So, but when you're hand painting, it can be a little bit more of a problem because I'm not actually sampling what that color. So, I mean, I have sampled some of the dark ones, but in general, we will have surprises where, oh, I could go on your computer and say, hey, I thought I went, lighter than that, and then it's actually dark. Uh, but what I tend to do is, yeah, keep it consistent with the references, and we should be okay. So when we take our renders and I feel like I have to go lighter or brighter based on the reference, I should be just fine. But yeah, one good thing investment would be for me next is to get a color accurate monitor, any color calibration tool, so that will just make my life so much easier. But until then, I'll just stick to what I have and do my best. I do have a laptop that's a little bit has a bit more color depth than my monitor, so sometimes I tend to take my renders on there to see how that's looking. So I have ways to go around it, and I'm sure you should also find ways like that. So we'll just go through the belly part a bit lightly because I don't want him to be as dark as some of the other areas. So really lightly on top, just so it's not a stark contrast from the rest. Same on the hips. So that's okay. We've got these paws as well. So let's do them, and you can see how the projection just messed up the groin area. We'll address that, or we can slap a ambient occlusion mask, which I believe I already brought into the project yesterday. So yeah, that's more like it. And I'm gonna just blend this groin there, and these streaks here, they can go away. So normally this is why in Mari, once a paint is slapped, you tend not to bake it immediately. But for this pass, I'm not that keen on getting everything right. So these little stretch marks and projection mistakes sort of help me find a solution to make it work, like blend this, and that eventually is gonna make it look actually good. Because that looks like a dirt mark. I mean, lion walking in a muddy puddle is not uncommon. So as long as I make it work by blending some of these edges, those can be considered as happy accidents that you can't otherwise get, because you can't plan on uh, these random streaks because they are random, and you won't have any reference of a skin like this. So some accidents I don't mind, some I do. So just remember that. Just gonna get these as best as I can, and just to top it up, if we just slap on a ambient occlusion map, I think it will get uh, the the vibe that we are going for. The and we'll do a quick look dev test, and then move on to maybe the mouth and the speculum maps, which is Yeah, which is the most important thing for getting that realism that we're after. Alright, so I didn't paint anything here, but let's see what we can do with another merge to go on top. So merge on top of everything. Was it this one? Yeah, this is the ambient occlusion map. So I'm gonna control duplicate this here over, and we want the multiply mode, darken multiply. Let's look at it now and see we got those dark patches there, and we got a bit of detail, added detail and everything. So this was before, and this is now. Okay, and that's really sweet. That's actually really good. And we may decide now to bake it. Connect the bake to the input here, and let's do a quick export. ACCG, all good, looking good. 16-bit EXR, export current, overwrite. Let's bring it back inside Blender. So now Blender, it looked better today than it did yesterday. That's because I've got the Asus profile color management, which I didn't, so it'll look more like it did in Mari. We're using the same Asus 1.2. I may have to bring this one back because I don't think Blender automatically updates. So diffuse color, open image, did anything change? Oh, I think, did we call that, what did we call it? Diffuse color, okay. So that definitely is right. Let's open up the texture map just to be sure. UV editor, change this to diffuse color. Yeah, I think it's, yeah, we did get all of those details. A better way is to check the pause because we definitely didn't have any color previously on that. So let's hide this cylinder. No, I don't think we did because these should be fairly dark. So if I go back to shader, diffuse color, ACCG, uh, diffuse color, yeah, open image. Ah, I think now it's updated. Something changed. Let's look at the material view. That might help us see better. Go to the shading. Where's the shading? Shading, and then so we can have this all ready. Yeah, see. So we got all those textures. Amazing. So already you can see the difference. So this is the skin part, you know, and we don't have to go too anal about this because all of this is anyway going to be covered by the fur. But the thing to, oh, we're in the world. Let me change that to object. So the thing to just be sure of is all of these color spaces. Why do you have the transparency as ACES CC? This could be role data. So roughness is also role, is it data? So anything like a floating point is best if we change that to data because it's just a black and white information. And the only thing that you want to be ACES CG is the diffuse texture. And I think everything else is fine. There's actually a better one than roll data when it comes to ACES workflow. I just don't remember what that is. Like with the OCIO profile, literally there's so many it comes out. But there is a more accurate role that you give it, which I can't remember. But data it works fine. I mean, I've tested it a number of times. I think yeah, it'll be one of these utility ones. Utility linear. Oh, role data. I think it's this role data, the one with the capital R. I'll change that to that. Not sure if it's really different or anything, but I think this is the one that comes from the profile, uh, the OCIO colors stuff. So all of these data. Yeah, doesn't matter. You can see we have our render and it looks good. And let's also do an actual render so you can see what it's looking like. Okay, so why is it rendering differently to what is in here? So where's that dark stuff gone? That's really odd. This is the one we just painted, but that's not what's been rendered. Anything here? I think it's remembering the previous render or something. Which would be very odd. Something in performance maybe. Persistent data. Yeah, let's turn that off. Render. Yeah, so much of this thing is troubleshooting. So much time goes into finding out there. So persistent data, I think what it does is unless you change something, it tries to remember the previous render, and what it does is it helps really speed up your renders in Blender, and it's really useful when you're say rendering a turntable or once you've got everything ready, but while you're testing changes it's not a good idea to have it turned on. So yeah, so this is our lion. So let's now do the color for the mouth and teeth, and then we'll start shifting the focus on the specularity and all the other stuff, because right now it's just a very generic specular map. Right, time to jump into blend, sorry, Mari again. So to isolate the this is again why we should have renamed all of these, which I will do it, but just so you know, it's best to have different backdrops for, say, the skin, the eyes, and the teeth, and so on. So I'm going to start a fresh graph, which I'll combine with this, and that this will be for the teeth. And I do have, so if I import into a new channel, and just call it uh, upper teeth mask, and say bring this line upper teeth, import all patches, and where did it go? Somewhere in Oblivion. So yes, essentially just a mask for all the teeth, right? I'll also do the same for the lower teeth, and we can combine. Layer. So channel. I'm pretty sure there's a better way to import just these files as a paint layer. I just couldn't figure out. I thought it'd be pretty straightforward, but I don't know. Maybe I never was that keen on finding out because I can always do it this way. Lower teeth, import all patches. And bring it from Mars back to Earth. And as we know, it's just the paint that we need. The channel them itself, I'm going to remove, and we got these two paint nodes that we can merge as a mask for the teeth. So click one M, and then over that, and then view this, and you should mask for both. So yeah, you can see the upper and the lower teeth. I've got white. No, that doesn't seem to be the case. Yeah, so that's, yeah, they're both. So, but didn't quite. Why did it not merge? Oh, because right, okay, because this is normal. So what we have to do is we have to find something that adds these together. So, lighten, just do an add, and then we got all of those. But when you yeah, add will work fine. Right, so that's the mask. Right, so we'll put this aside. I can rename this later as a mask or combine them, whatever. Um, Now we need a paint node as a base color for the teeth. So if I bring something, none of these images are going to be like very useful, but what we need is something very pale yellow kind of color. So let's bring a paint node, and we just say, oh, actually not the paint node but the color. So tab and say color, and get the American spelled color node, and this color we pick that really pale yellow that we saw, something around here. And also don't want to be too bright, like close to white. Want it somewhat neutral, close to 0.5, but maybe a little bit more saturated around there. So let's say that's the what we start with, and this will be merged with our rest of the colors, which is a merge node here. And let's bring this merge out of the backdrop, and this color goes over, and then this mask goes into mask. And now if you view this merge, you see you got a yellow teeth, right? So that's how you can quickly get your base color. And now what we want to do is isolate this, so we're not looking at the skin for now. So the way to do it now, if I do patches, it'll obviously grab the tongue and the other bits, what's the nails. If you don't want that, you can go to the face mode, grab all of these faces, just like so, and then right click visibility, hide unselected. And here we have our teeth only. Are we missing some faces? Ah, we're missing faces. Why? Okay, let's selection, visibility, show entire object. Let's try that again. It is missing some faces when I'm zoomed out, so it likes to be close to the camera. Is there a better way to select this? I don't know. But anyway, just carefully grab all the faces and then we'll save this selection set. Not selection set, what you call patch selection mode, whatever that's called. I'll show you in a second what I mean. So I've grabbed all the faces. So this mask I exported from ZBrush. Basically painted the teeth white and the rest black and exported that as a texture map. It's fairly easy. So you can create a number of different masks that way. It's easier to do the plan your mask and export it beforehand. Um, but then I tend to just get the major ones like AO, cavity, and some of these isolation masks. And then if there's anything I forgot, I can always create them inside Mari this way. So right click, selection, create patch selection set, and say teeth. Okay, and that's useful because we can always get back to it. Now right click, um, visibility, hide unselected. We have all the faces now. That's cool. Go back to the brush, and here there's a number of things we can do because the teeth. First of all, I might want some ambient occlusion in there. So once again, if I grab this and then go here, multiply, but this time I want to again make sure that the ambient occlusion is applied only to the um, what do you call it, the teeth color, right? So merge, and this is the ambient occlusion goes on top, and this will be a multiply. Oh, probably I didn't get the correct ambient occlusion, because that's a bit rubbish. Okay, let's forget it. Let's just get painting. So grab a paint node and make sure that it's this one, which is with alpha, and that's okay. But this is color, so automatic ACCG, and disable the scalar data. Click OK, and let's just paint it, and then we'll add some of the creases and other details a little later. The displacement map might help us there. So M again, paint over, and with the paint node selected, I can select a brush. First of all, I would start with getting some kinds of super soft like details. So this time I will pick a color that is close, but is a bit on the darker side, and also a little bit towards the red. And then make sure mirror is on, and then just the top part is going to be a bit dark. So I'm kind of hand painting like the overall ambient occlusion. So this part, the head is not going to be visible, it goes inside the gums. So I can make it fairly dark, but as it comes down, that's when we'll change the texture of it a little bit. Same with the bottom canine. Go smaller brush. Just grabbing these heads of the top of the teeth, and we'll keep doing a few variations. But the thing is we'll eventually have to get... What's my tablet doing there? Why does it do that? I'm not even clicking anything. It's acting like... I think my the the right click button is being accidentally pressed while I'm painting. Annoying, really. Okay, so let's do that. I mean, some of these accidental ones I've got to remove, but I'm gonna just use that and get back to this color and use a different brush so I have a bit of texture. And we want to try... Let's see what this does. Yeah. So it's a bit like a streaky but also spray kind of texture. Maybe not great, but it's okay. We're just recovering some of that color back. Oh, yeah, it is disabled, so it's not the fractal mask. So let's do K again. Let's try watercolor. And then the color here, I'm gonna go tingy bit towards the red. And just bring it from the bottom up, so some of those gum bleeds are visible. So this one combined with specular and the displacement map, it'll just add to that texture really nicely. Maybe this color is not the right one. It's too pink, on too much on the pink side. If we get it more to be like a dark red, and then yeah, sort of blend that. Yeah, just do some streaks. There are some nice streak brushes we can use for this. I think the grunge ones. Is it this one? And for now, this is just the first pass. I just want to get something so we can do the look dev, and once we do that, we compare it with our references and see what's looking right, what isn't, and then play with those SSS values. And yeah, lots of fun could be had with this. I mean, because I'm live streaming, I just want to like get on with it and make sure you see most of the process. But to be honest with you, it's really in between streams when I sit for an hour, get to really think properly of how this supposed to look like. But that's something that I'm trying to find a good balance at, where it's kind of like the most productive in the live streams, where what I do here in the streams is what I finally end up rendering. But that's almost not going to happen a lot, because a lot of R&D troubleshooting, I just can't do it live. It just takes a lot of time, and I can't talk and do at the same time. And I don't want this live stream to be me just doing my work and you watching. I want to add something by talking, saying some random things or some relevant things. But either way, I think these should be sessions where I get on with things, where you get to see the process, the techniques, and not get too caught up in the result, because the result is going to be good. It will be all right, uh, but then it's my line. It's not something you gain much from it. The best way I think you gain from it is when I talk through things and also give you insights on what I'll be doing next, what can happen in between streams, and so on. And this is why I will slowly be moving to like a Patreon style membership platform soon, where a lot of this is gonna real-time stuff is gonna move on to there. And on YouTube, I can then make either shorter videos, time lapses, and talk over the breakdowns of the process, explaining different problems I ran into and how I fixed those and that sort of thing, which I think in the long run will be more appreciated by the YouTube audience. And if anybody who's really keen on um, the slow process, the laborious tasks, they can always join me in that platform, which is a great way to support me, as well as support yourself if you find value in what I'm doing. So I will announce that soon when it's close to being ready. So right now, again, ideally I would be like really bouncing out my references, but I'm just using my knowledge on previous um, projects where I had to do these teeth. for a different creature, and that's something you will find yourself doing as well. A lot of times it's you just go with the flow, but you'll have to revisit and make tweaks after you've done your some look dev and something isn't quite to your liking or not matching the reference, which is really key when you're aiming for realism, because realism really depends on what your reference is telling you rather than your own artistic expression. But this is why sometimes I tend to balance hyper realistic work with some personal projects that is from the imagination, like a demonic creature, because there you get to apply all of this knowledge you've gained and really push your artistic muscles, flex the artistic muscles. But this is like fun enough, even the realistic stuff. It's just that in production you have, because you're time constrained, a lot of this has to be planned and done. Try to be as one and done as possible. So there's no room for like your artistic sort of flair. You just have to be to the point. Okay, these are the teeth. This is the SSS subsurface scattering amount that goes on there. All of that will mostly be available in most studios because of previous creature works, and a lot of reuse happens with stuff like teeth. So you're not really creating anything from scratch in production. So this is the person project is the only time when you have the opportunity to really explore the software and find different solutions to different problems and really have fun with the process. So I'm going to go a bit more gray, neutral gray, and maybe get a different brush. About this one. Did I get the brush? Yeah. Let's do that. Just the tips are gonna be the lightest. Ideally, I should be isolating teeth by teeth like we did uh, in ZBrush when sculpting, because you have this problem of like going over a different tooth. But like I said, right now, just put something on. We can always fix later, and I don't want to waste your time doing all the fixes that I can do in my own time. Yeah, wherever I see these little projections that have gone wrong, I can just go in and mask those mistakes cleverly and pretend that, oh, that's just how it was meant to be. That was what I was going for. I do that a lot in my projects. Cover up the accidents and pretend that that is the process. That's how I do it. Maybe I could bring the opacity down a little. to point, maybe point 0.5 for some of these areas. So I'm not losing the yellow completely. Line teeth are not really as messy as I'm making it to be here. They're usually very clean, unless you catch one right after its meal. It might have some food or blood all over. But they do maintain really nice white teeth for the most part. So it's never gonna be like this messy. They don't get cavities like us because they never eat sugar. They don't even eat anything sweet. So there's not a lot in the wild, the food that they eat that can damage their teeth the way it does to us. So I mean, you will see this in most animals. Their teeth are a lot cleaner, whiter, and healthier than human teeth. So so all of this is just my artistic expression, but yeah, there. This is much better having those whiter tips, especially the canines. They're so clean every single time because they need it to be healthy, right? So if it can be so easily damaged, they're gonna lose it at a certain age, and that's the end of them. They can't survive without these weapons. So they're not designed to eat anything that could damage their teeth, unlike us, who put everything in our mouths, literally. Okay, I mean, I just get lost in this stuff. So let's take a break from the teeth. You look okay, but obviously you're not perfect. We'll come back to you. Um, so that's the color, but obviously the specular maps, and the clear coat on this is going to be so much different. So let's shift our focus to the specular maps and things like tongue and stuff. I'll just do it in my own time. But they're not going to hurt because I'm not doing open mouth renders to begin with. So none of this is, it's not like they're visible, but I just wanted to do at least the teeth for your benefit, if anybody's watching. So where are we with the specular? So this is displacement, this is roughness. If I view this now, it looks like that, right? Fairly rough, so we need another version of the same of this merge and sort of make it dark and then combine it back. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. Let's move these guys out. I'm going to take this. I'll create a merge node. Actually, just get the levels and plug this into levels. So we're getting the same image. Now, mind you, this is for the entire model, but we're just viewing the teeth. So whatever I change will be changed to everything. So we'll have to bring our mask here. So let's duplicate this fellow, bring him here. I'm going to also move the displacement down a little bit. And so the levels we're going to tweak. So obviously we got this the other way around. So these creases, they can be less specular than the rest. So the first thing we need to do is, once we get the contrast, we'll have to invert it. or we can do it right here. So view the levels, and we can invert these levels, like go with the black to the right. So this is the darker areas is making it shinier, and the white bits are less shiny. So this is more the specularity that we want. And this you can now merge it back with the original. Oh, actually this will be over, and like this will be over that, and the mask goes in there, and that goes into our roughness channel. And if I view this now, it shouldn't change anything here, but if I reveal everything else, well, actually let's view the material so we can see the color and the specular together. And right now, oops, it is quite bad because we didn't bake our colors. So the colors now baked, uh, but I think this is the bump, so ignore the bump, but it is shiny, alright, but I think we may have to play with the level a little bit more. So let's see if we bring that down there. Alright, what's this? So that makes it, so it'll have to be pretty sharp. Let's do with that. Some of the displacement map may not be that good, which I need to address before I render these. And obviously this is to do mainly with the bump inside here, so we can't judge it just by what we're seeing here. But let's look at the levels again. So yeah, that's yeah, I think that is much better. This is what we wanted. So let's go back to the material and we'll reveal everything. Visibility, show entire object, and here we have it. This is it. Looks pretty dark, I know, but yeah, in the environment lighting, it will look just the way it did in our render. There we go. You can see the teeth from here. So that's how they look with the specular map and everything on. And yeah, when I revisit some of the renders, I'll have to like sculpt this tips a little better. Like these two are a little bit look like a rushed job because it is rushed job. And yeah, so yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to resculpt the details on the teeth. But then we have these gums. Oh, I need to color differently. So that's the thing to address next. Where do we have the patches for this? Let's select this patch and this patch. It's not going to help us because it grabs the faces. So let's select faces again. Okay, right click, selection, patch set, gums. Oops, I didn't get all the faces there. Anyway, visibility, hide unselected. So we have just this. Now obviously we have a problem where we don't have an open mouth animation to see what's inside. So again, I'm gonna have to work with what I have. Maybe here I'm going to start with just where's the merge here? So go to 2 and maybe do another merge. So we keep this separate. So create a paint node, everything as normal, and that goes in here. And we start to view just the paint. Yeah, and then because it's so dark, let's grab the pink that we want. It's a very neutral sort of pink that I'm going for, and the brush we can start with something soft and then add details later. This is a really good brush actually. Let's just go with this one. So it gives that nice texture. Oops. So what does that do? That's in the ceiling. Yeah. Okay. So our gums are actually here, the front of the mouth. Just go through to the end. So you get this random dark and pink tones. So yeah, that'll put something on there that is a bit of pink and gives that little mix with the underlying base color. It's the tricky part, so let's get a soft brush. Okay, hard 0. Just those tips. I'm going to go. Oh, I don't think I have mirror turned on, so let me undo that. Mirror projection. It's okay if I bleed into some of the back of the gums because it is supposed to be pinkish anyway, and this is going to be a little bit of a problem because I can't get to the back of them here. I just need to find those on this part. Where are they? Even missing some faces, so I'll have to reveal everything else. Shows entire object, and then continue painting. It's okay if I go over some of the other parts of the model. I can mask it off, so it's only painting over the gums. So I intentionally grabbed a slightly darker pixel. So what I can do is get a super soft brush and try to blend it. I can see here what it's doing. So this is the area. I can just go over a Dino skin or something to blend these two areas. So let's see. We've gone too far here, so they'll have to be black or dark. So go back onto that one and then cover it up. There you go. That's much better. Also going to use Supersoft here because we got quite a bit of unintentional artifacts. Okay, and that is looking good. I think for this session, I will leave it at that. In between streams, I might go ahead and fix some of the issues. Actually, let's go while we have the dark brush. This is going to be really, really dark as well. And the specularity needs to change. But yeah, I mean, I also in after the last stream, I fixed some of the displacement artifacts on the eye. This is why it was looking a little better in the renders. Let's export these two now. Bake these texture. So we got something, we got more progress, and this is kind of how it's gonna go. We get an overall feel for it, and get all the main local colors and variations, and then we go part by part, and then focus on just one area, try to get that right. And it is a very iterative process, and this is why kind of kind of like to do it alongside the look dev, because when you're doing your look dev you might find that there are some areas that are less important than the others, so you tend to focus on those areas and ignore the others. um, and yeah, so I will now I mean, let's do one other thing. We could just draw some around this the muzzle area, because this is also fairly dark around here. Just gonna blend it with that little change in plane. And now export diffuse and roughness, because that's the only changes we made. Okay, it's done. Save my file, bring it into Blender. Uh, so what's that? Diffuse color, diffuse, bring the first EXR, open image, roughness, roughness, open image, just roll data, HSDG, that's looking good, and yeah, let's do a render. So this is the render that's going to go on the thumbnail of this video. So yeah, pretty good. And the eye also is I think it does capture what I want, so we leave it for now. There may be a few more color variations I'll do before we call that final. And yeah, so let's call that done for the day, guys. If you found this useful, or would you like to just add your thoughts, be sure to drop a comment. So until the next stream is goodbye from me. You'll have a very good Halloween. All right, bye bye.